Hey guys, what's happening? So, I've basically decided that I'm gonna document my recovery from this distal bicep tear injury. So basically, what happened was 2.5 weeks ago, I was at a powerlifting competition, the All England Championships. I deadlifted 300 kilogram for my last attempt, and as it got to the top, or pretty much as I locked out, I felt like a wood breaking in half, literally. And yeah, I knew exactly what had happened as soon as it happened. I'll probably put the video up on the screen just so you can see. But yeah, man, didn't think that was going to happen. I think what caused the bicep tendon to tear as it got to the top was like it was slipping out of my hand, and I just tried to grab it harder, and maybe that caused my elbow to flex or my bicep to activate. I'm not too sure, but yeah, it just went as soon as that happened. So yeah, immediately after, my family were watching the competition, so we decided that we were going to drop my mum off home first, and then we were going to go to A&E. Went to the first A&E near where my mum lives, and I was basically told by the nurse that might be a massive cramp, don't worry about it, visit my local GP or local A&E the next day, don't bother waiting at A&E far from home. So yeah, I went home. I went to my siblings' house, which is near me, stayed there, or planned to stay there overnight. My sister told me to call 111 just to be sure that the nurse's advice was correct. So I called 111, described my symptoms. I moving the arm, like flexing the elbow hurt. There was a massive lump, as in like the bicep has retracted up the arm. And basically the nurse told me, go back to A&E. So I went back to A&E, stayed there for 8 hours, got an x-ray, got an ultrasound done, and they booked me in for an MRI. So about a week after that, so 1 week out of the injury, I got my MRI. Then 5 days after that, I got an appointment with the diagnosis. And then 5 days after that, 2 days after my MRI, I was told that I needed an operation. That's 5 days after my MRI, I was told that I needed an operation. And then 3 days after that, I got my operation. So yeah, fairly quick turnaround. It was 13 days from when I first got the injury to me actually getting a surgery. It was a full distal bicep tendon rupture, so it was basically a distal bicep tendon repair. Got a screw, my bicep tendon got screwed back into my arm. And yeah, so it's Thursday now, 3 days after the surgery. I'm in this sling. I'm going to be in the cast and a sling for sort of 2 weeks, and then it gets taken out, and that's when I start to do some gentle mobilization. I then get told, after 6 weeks, I get to use the arm a bit more, start to introduce some light exercise. Now, I've sort of looked at some of the videos that other people have put out about their bicep tears, just absorbing some knowledge and figuring out what the best thing to do will be. Obviously I plan to consult with a rehab specialist, someone that specialises in rehabbing these injuries, as opposed to just getting the physiotherapy that the hospital provides. So yeah, I've seen sort of a couple of things online. I think Andy Baker's series looked really good on his bicep tendon rehab, and I want to speak to the rehab doctor the rehab specialist that he consulted in. I think his name is John. It has an Italian surname or something, but and basically if I don't manage to get a hold of him, what I'll do is I'll just follow the protocol that is it's been outlined by him anyway, which is sort of after 6 weeks, slowly reintroduce barbell work, very light, and then just build up slowly, essentially. Like, don't avoid the barbell work necessarily. Give it time to regain that range of motion, but definitely get back into those barbell movements. So, yeah, that's what I'll be doing. And I think around the 12-week mark, that's when I can start to add a fair bit more load. I also want to work on sort of the weaknesses that I had around the sort of arm, forearm area prior to the injury. So one issue I had was I couldn't do press ups with a flat palm. Not that I couldn't do them; it was just bending, flexing my wrist. Like, it's become really immobile. I'm not too sure how or why, but it's become really immobile on both sides. And so doing press ups with flat palms is very difficult for me. I would like to sort of be able to do those in the future. Just build up that mobility in the wrists and loosen up the forearm muscles. I'd also like to be able to do underhand rows as well. Light though, not too heavy, but I found underhand rows uncomfortable in the past. I'd like to get to the point where I can sort of do them with comfort rather than just avoiding that exercise. And then also just working on my forearms more, so getting all of the sort of movements in, so working more sort of pronation or isolating pronation and supination of the wrists, radial and ulnar deviation, and flexion and extension of the wrists. So yeah, I want to work more of those. So, things like wrist rollers, working with a hammer, to again get that rotation and that ulnar and radial deviation. Yeah, so I want my wrists and my forearms and sort of that sort of area, the mobility around those areas to be better than they were prior to the injury. Just as a bit of a side quest, really. I think I can come back stronger from this injury. It really sucked because the competition that I had, it was a successful competition. I mean, I hit a personal best meet PB of 680. I squatted 250. I benched 155. I did deadlift at 275 for my first attempt, which was 5 kilogram lower than my all-time PB. But overall, my total was a PB total, and it would have been a huge PB total had I not torn my bicep on 300, or had I just been more sensible with my attempt selection and following the plan. But yeah, just want to document my recovery process. I don't know how often we're going to be doing videos, maybe a week, every week or so. But yeah, I just want to, produce this series just so I can help that one extra person, just to give another perspective of bicep tendon recovery or bicep tendon surgery recovery. A lot of people have this injury by the sounds of it, and a lot of people are able to come back from this injury as well. So I'm not too worried about it, but I think my goal is to come back even stronger, and I want to show you guys that I can do that. Not just you guys, but also show myself. So yeah, thanks for listening.